This little black dog, Jim, he is going to lead me to a place called the Mother Farm. And the Mother Farm will be a sanctuary for homeless pregnant women, an organic experimental farm, school for midwifery, and center for disaster relief preparedness training.
Take off society's blinders and learn to grow in the light. Take off society's blinders and learn to grow in the light. And everywhere I look, I see geometry, shapes of hearts, shapes of flowers.
Nearly every single person at some point or another, we would hope, would come to understand the nature of keeping the scene peace. Shanti Sena. And for Owen, my buddy Owen here, I'm doing this. And he has this thing about midwives, and so I'm going to tell you some short midwife stories, if you don't mind. Which is kind of a Shanti Sena movie. Well, it just happened to be, see, at midnight, in drove this woman, who happened to be what? A midwife. And we went over to her and we said, hey, and she said, oh yes, not only am I a midwife, but I've dealt with all kinds of people like this. I dealt with many births where they weren't all natural. So down into the woods she went, this midwife, in the middle of the night, and at 4:20 in the morning, this little baby was born. The mama and the papa. It was all done by candlelight. It was all done in the nicest natural way. The baby was all born just as natural, beautiful. And a little girl at 4:20 in the morning. And we all celebrated. And then almost immediately we made plans and we moved the family, because sometimes you see when the police hear that there's a birth, they want to find out who's the midwife. Because you see, in many places, being a midwife, unless you're in a hospital circumstance, is illegal. And oftentimes, you know, in past gatherings, we had raids by the police, by the federales, to come in and get our midwives in the middle of our births. So we had to go through all kinds of circumstances.
Let it be your peace, let it be your peace. Feet once are steep, if only I had wings, then I would fly. Then I would fly. Then I would then I would fly.
You and Jim.
Oh, we love you. Alright, push the button. Cat Studios are located at
500 North Hagen, Suite 105. Come on down. It's really fun. Connect with other artists.
Connect with other artists. We love you.
We love you.
This is the story of my little black dog, Jim Crow. Jim was conceived in the Ocala National Forest, right next to a fire pit that I had dug, or the kitchen fire that I was using for the big fire pit that I had dug down a little bit down the way, because we were doing a talent show. It was my birthday. It was Valentine's Day, and so my talent was going to be I built a big Dutch oven, like a 40-gallon cook pot, and we were going to have layers of pizza coming out on chains from this thing that was the lighting for the stage where we had people playing. Well, that particular Valentine's Day, though, there was a forest fire there in the Ocala National Forest, and we all had to go running and put it out. So we put out this fire, 40-foot wall of flames and everything like that. Then I get back, we do the talent show. thing that happened that night was Jim, Baby, and Rebel. Baby's the small poodle, and then Rebel is the Chihuahua miniature pincher mix. Both of whom I'm not allergic to. They got stuck, you know, meaning they were copulating. And when they get stuck, that means that they can breathe. Well, I picked up my 5-gallon bucket full of water because I was going to put them put the little fire in between the two of them, you know, because it was a cook space. You know, you're not supposed to. You know, we were preparing food and things like that. But then I realized that their child I would not be allergic to. So I made one of those choices that one makes in life, and I said, I want one of those. And Foots, Baby's daddy, said to me, "Oh yeah, of course, no problem." And so, and Jim was then born in Bakersfield, and in the meantime, I was in between places, going to hitchhiking around and driving this big RV for a friend of mine, traveling around with this crazy girl, which is cool because I got pictures of me hitchhiking from behind from that. And then traveled across the country with my old friend Poet, and then went to Washington State to do the poetry for the National Rainbow Gatherings Spring Council that year in 2011. And well, who shows up but Foots with my dog? And so, with Jim,
Jim.
with baby Jim.
Oh,
little baby. Jim's all huge now, look at that. 7 weeks old. He's a little tiny stuff. And then me and Jim did poetry at that gathering. Because he was brand new, and was in the cycle of his shots, you know, and they didn't have them all yet, because it takes 3 weeks. We camped pretty much down the hill and did an iodine camp, sort of proper Rastafarian style, called Poets Street. And there was Jim along with us. We were having a great time. And then Jim and I traveled across the country, and I took him to meet my mom in Wisconsin.
She was shining with a light that came from some other direction than the sun. I was held speechless by the breach in the laws of physics, and creation became so very evocative. Yes, she was shining with a light from some other direction than the sun. She did provocative dances while playing her blues, yes. And creation became so very evocative, yes. She was shining with a light.
Perro a vosotros los que oís os digo, amad a vuestros enemigos, haced bien a los que os aborrecen, bendecid a los que os maldicen y orad por los que os calumnian. Al que te quiera en una mejilla, presentaré también la otra. Y al que te quite la capa, ni aun la túnica le niegues. A cualquiera que te pida, dale. Y al que tome lo que es tuyo, no pierdas, que te lo devuelva. Como queréis que hagan los hombres con vosotros, así también haced vosotros con ellos.
And then when I was leaving Wisconsin and coming back west, I had this feeling feeling in lacrosse. It was a clear and distinct sort of message moment I felt from God, and it was that He was going to give me a car, and that I wasn't allowed to work for the car, but I had to have the dog, having the dog with me. You know, like he was going to give me a car with which to complete this mother farm project, because I was going to go just straight to Olympia, Washington, where there's this radio station and info shop and Peace and Social Justice Activist Networking Center called Media Island that I have been part of in the past and would like to return to and go there every year anyways, even though I don't get to stop and stay. And it's where I think that the Mother Farm Project is really going to take its root. That's going to be the community that will grow.
Pero a vosotros los que os digo. Vosotros los que os digo, amad a vuestros enemigos, haced bien a los que os aborrecen. Bendecid a los que os maldicen.
Yes, that's exactly the ending. That was the one that God wanted.
I want to read it.
From the very beginning of time.
It was the sad, soft, lonely blues of a dying creature, and it made me feel like I was as real as the stenciled graffiti on a sidewalk. There's a thing that makes me sad, and I wanna make it stop. And I'm not a man who wants to call the cops, but everything's part of everything else, and I'm just a filter writing stories you can't sell. It was a sad, soft, lonely blues of a dying creature, and it made me feel like I was as real as a stencil graffiti on a sidewalk. I am written on all of the structure of the universe. I am happening once as the fulcrum of existence. The parts of us that never die are already in the future, pulling us towards them with golden lassos like spider silk umbilical cords, pulling us to the blooming womb. On the upside of down, there's an inside of right, and the turtles are trying to escape.
But then again, putting definitions on things like angel and anything is meaningless in itself. So how are you going to film about the
wants to call the cops? Well, everything's part of everything else, and I'm just a filter writing stories that you can't sell. It was the sad, soft, lonely blues of a dying creature.
This place called the Mother Farm, the sanctuary for homeless pregnant women on an organic farm, will be a school for midwifery and a center for disaster relief preparedness training. When Jim was given to me, it was so that I would have a companion and also something to distract me so I would make the right mistakes. Isn't that right, Jim? Am I making the right mistakes yet?
I guess so.
It's kind of a sad song, isn't it? That's from an on-ramp. in Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin originally. I was hitchhiking out of Wisconsin. Yeah, so there you are. www.motherfarm.blogspot.com. Spelling your farm with a PH balance. And that's where the Articles of Incorporation for the nonprofit and the fill in the blanks documents that are necessary. If someone actually has some property and they want to let the mother farm happen in their space, and they're willing to divest themselves of all interest in it and give it fully on to go build another mother farm. You know, until there are no more homeless pregnant women in the world, I will be a homeless person.
In their peace.
Did you know there's love on that one too?
There is love over there. Love is everywhere.
You know, I got this.
Speaking of love, there's some love right there. Oh, and look! Look, there's some hitchhikers. And look, they have to go to the mother farm.
I got one stopping.
Gotta figure it out.
The prophets of love and persecuted, we are always forgiven. We do what they please do. Make the pollen into honey, oh yeah. We do what they please do. Make the pollen into honey, oh yeah. With the sacred dancing geometry. Las profetas del amor son perseguidos porque siempre perdón. Hacia lo que hacen las abejas, hacia que el polen en la...
Just one and a dog, maybe?
Okay, cool. I'm trying to go to the mother farm.
I think I know where that is.
But I don't know where it is yet.
Sagrada danza.
So as I said before, sort of a woodland hermit, only a slightly domesticated creature, and I'm really happy that I've completely failed to have a technological masterpiece take place, because somehow out of the middle of it all falling apart, I think it's going to do exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Alright, okay.
Well, I was born a rescued man, and I will do no work for evil. This theory may sound evil, but I am a child of the living light. Well, I was born a rescued man, and I have not forgotten. We've already suffered and all the lying, there's more to come. I understand. Well, I was born a rescued man, and I had enough of sorrow, so I will work now, back tomorrow. But somebody love me to the man. Well, I will never understand why we have fallen in prison. How we overcame the division of people by the wind and raptured by the sound of the love child multiplying by sharing still dividing. We overcome by finding common ground. I am enraptured by the sound of the love child multiplying by sharing, still divided. We overcome by finding common ground.
And say, right, you guys are all here for the Mother Farm Benefit Concert Show, right?
Yeah. No need to borrow, no sorrow. Bangarang chain to change. Flowers in the garden today. Bangarang chain like a Chinese name. Don't change me, stay the same. Laughing with the blues man at the abuse that had to happen.
My name is Owen.
Hi,
and you guys, I didn't know if you knew this when you woke up this morning, but you are the Bad Folk Orchestra. The Bad Folk Orchestra are the people who join with me in trying to cause the Mother Farm Project, which will be a sanctuary for homeless pregnant women on an organic farm and a school for midwifery. And right there pulling up is Barry Plunker, our special guest speaker. In that man. Let's go say hi to Barry, guys.
It isn't the Rainbow Family, because as you know, in case you don't know this, the Rainbow Family doesn't exist. We are the Rainbow Family tribe of the Magi Nation, which means that we only exist as brothers and sisters and as people and as families.
So in Rainbow Land, one of the things we do is we yell "We love you" at people. So do you guys want to yell "We love you" at Barry as he opens the door? We'll do it on 3. We'll do 1, 2, 3. We love you.
Yeah. Wait till he gets up.
Right when he opens that door.
I am alive today. Hey.
Door's opening. 1, 2, 3. We love you.
You are alive today.
Hey Barry, come on in. We just got started.
Let us pray. Must not forget if we are quick. Oh, we must not forget if we are quick. Said soon, but not tomorrow. Today there's still room to blow. No need to borrow, no sorrow. Come on, bangarang chain to change. Flowers in the garden today. Bangarang chain like a Chinese name. Don't change me, stay the same. Living with the blues man had the abuse that had to happen.
This is the donation tent. If you'd like to make a donation at all to the cause, just drop it in the tent right here. As you can see, some people have... There's already been a ukulele and a case with a bobcat on it thrown in there. And oh, look at that, magically another $1 appeared on the Mother Farm Project. Over the course of the evening, we'll explain what will happen with these monies. And as Barry walks in the door, we'll say, welcome to the Mother Farm Project. We'll be going in a moment.
Keep me higher rewards, huddled masses, yearning. Then these homeless tempest talk to me. I lift my lips, sigh.
That's the important part.
Well, my best friend slash wife slash life partner is pregnant with my child. It's going to come out in the next 2 weeks. And we've been almost the majority of the time.
We mostly hitched rides with friends of ours from place to place. Hard, very hot, broke down on the side of the road, middle of summer in the middle of Kansas kind of days.
But with the disaster relief kitchen, me and Kaylee actually met at a rainbow gathering in Florida. I was hanging out with a group of friends that we all collectively have a set of school buses that we do disaster relief on disaster relief work.
I've been helping a lot with the free food kitchen because that's what I'm really passionate about. It's distributing free food to every single hungry person, regardless of their social standing.
What's his whole name?
Madigan Eamon Conlaic Flynn.
Wow.
Conlaic is an old, you should check it out. It's an old legendary thingy. It's like an old Irish legend, and it means highest chief. Eamon means guardian of the ridges. Madigan means mastiff, and Flynn, which is my last name, means fox. So he's Mastiff Fox.
Yeah.
You made a baby.
I did it.
I was walking by the graveyard late last Friday night. Heard some people shouting, sounded like a fight. It was just a drunken hobo dancing circles midnight. Pouring whiskey on the headstones in the moonlight. So often I have wondered where these homeless brothers live. Down in some hidden valley where their sorrows cannot show, where the police cannot find them, where they're wanted them. There's freedom when you're walking, even though you're walking slow. Smash your bottle on the gravestone and live while you can. That homeless brother is my friend. It's hard to be a pack rat, it's hard to be a beau, but living's so much harder where the heartless people go. Somewhere the dogs are barking and the children seem to know that Jesus on the highway was a lost hobo. And they hear the holy silence of the tumbles in the hills, and they see the rags and tatters as another kind of thrill, and they envy him the sunshine, and they pity him the chill, and they're sad to do their living for some other kind of thrill. Smash your bottle on the gravestone and live while you can. That homeless brother is my friend. Somewhere there was a woman, somewhere there was a child, somewhere there was a cottage where the marigolds grew wild. But somewhere's just like nowhere when you leave it for a while. You'll find the broken hearted when your tracks are tumbles now.
Hang out this one up here so I can get it to work. Well, folks, howdy.
Howdy.
Mary, they call me Bunker because this is my bunker, and I hunt this bunker all tree. I don't think that as pretty as that gal we own at this rainbow gathering. Now, what's a rainbow gathering? Well, that's a gathering of people peaceably assembling for purposes of expression on public land. All right? But at least you get into it. And so we sort of ask the same thing for a gathering. We ask people to be able to come home, be welcome home, and be in peace at home. And if you are in trouble at a gathering and you happen to not know where to go, well, you can go to any one of the kitchens. Places like Kid Village, places like the front gate. And ever occasionally you will find people that are walking around carrying little radios. Now, about many years ago in Montana here, when I was real little, I had dreams and visions and stuff. And it turned out those visions and dreams came true. Some of them. One of them happened to be this thing called the World Family Gathering, which was the first, known as the first Rainbow Gathering. And first Rainbow Gathering was July 1st to the 4th, 1972. Near Granby, Colorado, at a place called Strawberry Lake. How'd that all come to be? Well, when I grew up, I went in the military. In the Navy, I got out, and I was a little bit odd. So I moved into a tree in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, and San Francisco. And I was one of the 12 street people in the entire Haight-Ashbury for short while. And then all of a sudden, in November 1966, I got out in September 66. In November 1966, my pure accident and all kinds of good vibrations, the thing known as the hippies came to be, and the Haight-Ashbury became known as the home of the hippies. And for some people, hippies were dirty and wild and strange and full of drugs and all kinds of stuff. But I have a different version of what I call a hippie, and that is a hippie, which is a humanly interested person, friendly eye. Now that's a hippie. So right off, you see, I have a different translation of a lot of these things concerning how we all live. Now, in Haight-Ashbury, we had these things called crash pads, and there would be hundreds of people, actually, by the end of November 1966, it was over 2,000 living in the Haight-Ashbury. And they had these various places called crash pads, we call them squats. And in these crash pads, but people would be there, and we'd all be like sitting up against the wall with our feet in the center. If you had to go to the bathroom, which didn't exist, but if you had to go to the bathroom, you would, people would be literally picked up and passed out, and then passed back in again because no one could walk. And of course, we tried to enjoy what is known in the Japanese world, and the place in the Far East, is the utmost in respect. In other words, we gave each other as much space as possible. You probably heard stories about orgies, people making love with hundreds of people all around. Well, that did happen, but very seldom, and I never actually made any of those orgies, which I was looking for all the time. But never did find one. But I did find, you know, we did have a lot of people living in these crash pads, and if it came down a certain time, Haight-Ashbury, there was a bunch of folks who came along, and the United States government, for example, began to introduce speed into what's called LSD. And that happened by just all kinds of weird things started happening in the streets. People started getting hurt. People started robbing each other's gang activity, you might call it. In those days, it was this gangs of toughs who would run around, and they'd come up and they'd bang on the doors of the crash pads, and you'd know who you were with. If you were with good people, then everybody got up, just like the Irish song goes, Katie barred the door. And we'd all bar the doors and windows, and we wouldn't let the little bad boys come in and beat the hell out of us and rob people. But if everybody in the place started getting up and running for it, then everybody in the place got up and ran for it. And if you were smart, you ran too. And that was kind of an odd way to live. So on down the trail, it came about in outside of Colorado, in Boulder, Colorado, in 1968. We had a gathering, and it wasn't a rainbow gathering. It was a gathering that's called by the Spirit, you might say. There's people came in from all over the country. It was mentioned in a book called Lucifer's Hammer, which is in science fiction, about hippies from California that came to Colorado for the end of the world. In fact, there's a movie on the hippies that's being shown on TV, and there's a part in there about Walter Cronkite. He used to be a news guy. And he came out to this Colorado mountain where we were sitting, and he sat there on the side of the mountain and talked about the end of the world and why we were there. And if you look carefully, you'll see just behind Walter Cronkite, you'll see a little fire, and you'll see a coffee pot, and you'll see a hand reaching across for the coffee pot. That's my hand. That's like, you know, my sort of only real claim to fame. But anyway, so at the end of that, we walked 7 miles to a place called Sugarloaf Mountain, and we held a circle on top of Sugarloaf Mountain, and then we kind of moseyed on. But while we were there was a camp with a couple hundred family up in the hills. We called them family, brothers and sisters, because we didn't know their names. And it was a good way to know each other. Hello, brother. Hello, sister. You can always tell because, well, sometimes. And it got to be, we don't really care. Some of the brothers look like sisters, some of the sisters look like brothers. You know, people just look like people. So we just call them family. But they were up in the hills, and there was a guy, and and his name was Ken. And Ken was a mountain man. He came all the way from Florida. He wore leathers. He was good, tall. He spoke strong. He was a leader type. And he was up on that mountain in the middle of the night. A couple guys rolled in a pickup truck, and they got out and they fired off a gun. And they said, you know what? We want that woman right there. And they took this woman right there, and most of them took her in the bushes, and they assaulted her. And my friend Ken, who was the leader, he was going to stop these folks. So he said, okay, everybody, come on, let's stop them. And he stepped forward, and of course, no one else did. And they pistol whipped him, and they left huge scars in his face. And they beat him into the ground, and they assaulted the woman, and they left, and they left. I wasn't there at the time, but that was the very moment, you might say, that it came to my mind that, you know what, there had to be something where people would know that when something like that happened, that they'd get up and not just be there and leave someone to do it all by themselves. And of course, among the carny people, carnival people, even to this day, they have a saying, this, hey Rube. If you've ever been in a carny and you're working one of the carnies, and even now in modern days, when they say hey Rube, every single one of them shop people got all those little game things, close up their shops, and they'll come and run. Now back in the old days, in Old West and late 1800s, and there was people traveling through carnies by the local towns get upset with the carny people, and they come out and want to whoop on them. And so they say, hey Rube, so all these guys can get up and come out, and they fight off whoever, and then they move on. Well, in a place called Wheeler's Ranch in California, which is one of the great sort of communes, the cry was Gadaba, which means look out or come here or look the hell out. Even to this day, if you run into folks and you say Gadaba among them, people from Wheeler's Ranch would still know what that means. So at that point, I decided what needed to be done was something very much like the carnies, and so down the trail we began what's called the SENA, which means peace scenes. I know it's translated in Hindu as peace army, in some places in Sanskrit, and it's sort of reputed to be something to Gandhi. Well, I was in the military, and so was a lot of the family that helped start the gatherings, and none of us wanted to ever join the army ever again. And so we're not into the army, we're into peace scenes. We try to keep the scene peaceful. Now what does that mean? Well, it means that in the middle of the night, in the middle of the gathering, if you happen to hear somebody yell help or Shanti Sena, it means that somebody actually needs you. And there are people like me, individuals, who will get up day and night, 24/7.
This woman, she
no
said,
matter what.
you haven't walked a mile in my moccasins. How you gonna tell me what I said? How you gonna tell me if I sinned? Met this woman and she said, you ain't walked a mile in my moccasins. How you gonna tell me how I'm bred? How you gonna tell me if I've sinned? From within, there's a consciousness of the kinship of humanity, yeah, rising up from within.
But basically, myself and a whole bunch of other folks kind of come along, came to a realization that somebody ought to get up. And so we decided it was going to be me and whoever else. Now, at a gathering, which by the way, next summer in Montana, somewhere in the National Forest,
Are crying.
going to be the annual gathering of the tribes.
Hello.
Now, this is a world family gathering. It's a things, but I actually prefer calling it the annual gathering because it happens 1st and 7th now every year. And this next summer, Montana, somewhere in the National Forest and public land, is going to be this gathering. When that happens, there's going to be thousands of families coming from all over the country, no matter what they say. I mean, the world's going to end in 26 days. But as soon as that ends, afterwards, we're going to have the
known as the Warriors of the Rainbow.
Now, if you come in peace. We ask for no weapons. We discourage drugs and alcohol. Abuse. Now, we really try not to, I'm speaking in the granted way, we try not to like outlaw too many things at the gathering because after all, you see, outlaws outlawing outlaw don't really make much sense. And so the government kind of thinks of us sort of being outside the law, and as we know, for every law there's an equal and opposite outlaw. Well, I happen to be one of those. So, but if you were to come to the gathering and get yourself in trouble, now, I'll just take like a simplest example of all. If you were to come to the gathering and you come in peace, you come through the gate, the front gate, and people say welcome home, show you where to park, you get out, and you're walking into the gathering, and there you are, and all of a sudden just somebody just come up and just punches you in the head.
Tell me what I said.
Because they don't like the way you walk, they don't like the way you talk, they don't like the way
my
you
sin is. Have you?
Now this is a very rare occasion, but you might holler hell for Shanti SENA, and so what happens then? Well, if there's somebody about half conscious, they will come up and they will help you. Now, what would happen if you were seriously hurt? Well, then there's a process. We try to work out things internally, which means that we try to have what's called a Shanti SENA circle, which would mean we try to get the victim and whoever was the perpetrator together. Now, if I as an individual had been wrong, then he could have put me in jail myself, or the person could sue me personally. But he couldn't sue, say, the Rainbow family, or you, or anyone else. So it's, we support the victim. We try to get as much clarity as possible. We have had circumstance, we had an extremely odd circumstance, which I'll bring up because it's kind of an odd thing, how things work at the gathering. This was in 1997 at the Oregon gathering. The annual gathering was held in Oregon. And a guy and a gal were at a camp, and they had an argument. The guy left and went to town. And some other guy said to this young gal, "Hey, come on over to my tent." And for whatever reason, she went to the tent and went in the tent. And a couple hours later, her boyfriend came home, and he said, "Where's my gal?" And she was coming out of this tent, this guy. And the boyfriend said, "What's going on?" And she immediately said, "Oh, he sexually assaulted me. He raped me." So we went, "Oh my God." So of course, a bunch of us got invited in on the circumstance because people call for Shanti SENA and they call for help. And so we got a circle of people together to go and check out what actually happened. And so we had a couple of very trusted, good, strong sisters. And we asked them to go over and interview the woman. And so they went over and interviewed the guy, and interviewed the gal, and then they came back. We said, "Well, what happened?" They said, "Well, what really happened was this. The guy and the gal went in the tent. They didn't really have sex. He didn't actually sexually assault her. She just didn't want to tell anyone and her boyfriend what they were actually doing." I said, "Well, okay, well, what were they actually doing?" What they were actually doing was they were sticking their fingers with pins and sucking the blood. They were having a version of vampire sex, which was kind of weird. And so our women, sisters, then explained to the gal that, you know what, things like AIDS and all kinds of things can come from things like this, and maybe you should think about this. And, you know, sucking blood out of somebody else's fingers. Now, we were able to clear that up right on the spot. Now, another circumstance happened, same kind of thing. The guy went in the tent. He was going to massage this gal. They took their clothes off. And then at some point, he decided he wanted a little more. He jumped on her. She complained. She did not want to go to the police office. She did want to be dealt with. This was in California. We happened to know people that were counselors in a sex therapy counseling scene in a nearby town. It happened to be some of our people that we knew. And so, by agreement of the victim, and by agreement of the perpetrator, and by agreement of the other people involved, this guy, instead of the gal filing a complaint with the police, the victim agreed that this guy would go to counseling. And so he did. And so we also obviously followed up on it. Now what does that mean? Well, that means that sometimes there are things that happen in gatherings, just like they are in the real world, and sometimes it doesn't work out that you can handle it through the courts. There are a lot of people who live in the streets. There are lots of really rough ways that you can deal with stuff. What we try to do, if you're at a gathering and you have to do something stupid and you harm somebody, we try to treat you the same way we would a victim. Which means, basically, unless you're tried and convicted, you're innocent until proven guilty. Even if you admit to the crime, we still try to treat people with respect. Together, we try to work things out that way. If that can be worked out internally, then we try to do that. And sometimes this has worked out. Now, in cases, there have been cases, of course, in since about 45 years of doing this, it's going to be the 43rd gathering. We've had a number of people over the years who just don't quite get the point. We've had a very few sexual predators that have actually showed up at our gatherings. For some reason, people think that hippies are very loose type people, that they're into drugs and therefore they can pretty much do whatever the hell they want. So we kind of help them understand that that's not the way things happen. Now, if you were to be actually harmed to the point that you wanted to file a complaint with the police, then what happens then? Well, somebody like me will support you, victim. It isn't the Rainbow Family, because as you know, in case you don't know this, Rainbow Family doesn't exist. We are the Rainbow Family Tribe. We are the Rainbow Family Tribe of the Magi. Which means that we only exist as brothers. Which means that we only exist as brothers and sisters in our hearts and family. So, anytime you choose not to be my brother or sister, well, you just say, hey, I ain't your brother, I ain't your sister. That may not change my heart, my mind, but I can accept your prospect and where you're at. So, if the Rainbow Family doesn't exist, then who supports the victim? Well, me. As an individual, over the years, I've supported a number of people who have been victimized. In fact, to the point where I've made what is called a citizen's arrest, which is how we do things. He left a big pile of something just down the road. He needed to go back and clean it up and take care of it. So we went and we approached this cat. We surrounded him, I'd say. We found him, we surrounded him in a very gentle way. We asked him, invited him. We did exactly that. We invited him to come with us. And in fact, at one point we invited him to surrender to the police and go back to Florida and deal with his circumstance and situation. Now who did that? Well, every single person involved in that, every single individual involved in that was at risk for a number of things. For example, if the cat didn't happen to be the right person and we imprisoned him or took him or captured him or whatever, that's called kidnapping. Then there's assault, because we held him, but we didn't actually grab him too much. We just held him enough to ensure that he wasn't going to move away from us. So that's called imprisonment. All of these things are charges which can be laid against any person who takes up the idea of being an individual, making a citizen. However, we went through the process anyway, and sure enough, he agreed to surrender to the police. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that sometimes there are things that happen in gatherings, just like they are in the real world, and sometimes it doesn't work out that you can handle it through the courts. There are a lot of people who live in the streets. There are lots of really rough ways that you can deal with stuff. What we try to do, if you're at a gathering and you have to do something stupid and you harm somebody, we try to treat you the same way we would a victim. Which means, basically, unless you're tried and convicted, you're innocent until proven guilty. Even if you admit to the crime, we still try to treat people with respect. Now, what are we after? Well, we're after trying to prevent, obviously, vigilante violence. This can happen with any mob of human beings. We try to work out something where people actually sort of feel like they have gotten some satisfaction in whatever's happened. Now, if you do come to a rainbow gathering and you do harm somebody else, then there are a number of people. Now, it used to be just a few, but now there's thousands of people come to the gathering who have at one point or another dealt with some sort of Shawnee SENA movie. And we all have eyes. Anybody else that's been convicted of some sort of predator crime, if they do come back to a gathering after they've gone through whatever their process has, we ask them to find a sponsor. Find somebody to be fair witness for them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In other words, you have to have somebody with you. You don't come to your kid village if it's child predation. You don't obviously go to women's circles if you like sexually assaulted a sister. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. But if you happen to do that, you will have somebody with you all the time who's your sponsor, who's with you 24/7. And you then we know then that you're not going to be in the process of committing some sort of crime. Now, that may sound kind of weird and harsh and strange, but we do that. And sometimes we have people that we've been doing this with for years and years and years. Now, why is it we do this? Well, everyone has the right to peaceably assemble. You're innocent until proven guilty. If you're a victim, you need to be supported. In our society, and particularly among the outlaw world, which we are sort of on the edge of or are, and are considered as such, calling police just doesn't work sometimes. I've had friends of mine who called the police in circumstances where they were harmed, and the police came to their homes, and instead of following through and arresting the perpetrator, the person who's harming them, in fact, the police walked around their homes, walked around their yards, found things that they shouldn't have growing in their yards, and arrested my family, my friends, who were the victims, instead of the perpetrators. So calling police sometimes ain't that easy. The same thing happens when you're out here in one of these camps. What do you do if somebody's a thief? What do you do if somebody robs you or kills somebody? What do you do if you're on the street? Well, I try to encourage people to do the same kind of Shawnee SENA scene that we do at the gatherings. Because the gatherings are lots and lots of different kinds of people who don't know each other. And which means that instead of back in the old days, in the old hobo camps, in the 50s and 40s, 30s, because they still exist in Montana, if you were a thief or you killed somebody in the camp, they'd bury you under the fire before they left. That was just one of the ways they kept track, kept some form of justice going in these homeless camps, in the hobo camps. Well, obviously, we're not into having something like that happen. So we need some other way to deal with it. And so the way we figured out how to deal with it is you have to stand up together. So if you're at a gathering or you're out on the street, and you hear somebody holler help, Shanti SENA, then it's really what? You have a choice. You can either turn, go to these people, find out what's going on and help out, or you could always dial 911. But you know, a lot of times when you're in the street, you haven't got much other choice. So what you got to do is find people like me who will stand up with you if you're there. And all over the country now, we have kitchens operating all over the United States 24/7 year-round that feed people in the streets. We have crews that are working out here in the Hurricane Sandy in Union Beach, New Jersey right now. There's a whole rainbow response team out there cooking food and looking after people out there in the firehouse. You can join up anytime. And wherever you go, in any of the rainbow camps, anywhere in the country, you're going to find the same sort of circumstance, hopefully. You're going to find people that are going to respond to the call of Shanti SENA for help. People who are going to stand up with you. People who are going to stand with you. I hope you do. Next summer here, I have every hope that there will be the thousands of families that come here, and come through Missoula, and come through all western Montana, and all through Montana. I would hope every single one of them is pure, gentle as a lamb, and white as snow, and just the nicest human beings on earth. But if they happen to be not that good a person, well, I hope that they will show some respect. That they'll come to the gathering in peace, that they'll come without their weapons, that they'll come with the idea of gathering with other human beings and other brothers and sisters and find out that it's really okay to live in peace on the earth with one another and not harm one another. And if you happen to be a predator and you think that it's going to be easy to come to a gathering and mess with the children or mess with the people, you will find that there are 1,000 eyes there watching you. And there are thousands of people who will get up and they will answer the call of Shanti SENA. They will answer the call to help. And they will come and deal with you. We would hope that they would. The last thing I want to say is, if you happen to be coming home to the Rainbow Gathering and you happen to hear that about the front gate of the Rainbow Gathering, well, the way the front gate of the Rainbow Gathering actually operates, regardless of wherever you may have heard, and whatever you might even have seen or witnessed, the way a Rainbow Gathering front gate operates is the way all the gates of the gathering operate, which is open, free to all. We try to ask for nobody to be drunk on the gate, working the gate. We ask people not to drink alcohol on the gate. We ask people not to spam, not to panhandle people on the gate. We ask people, in fact, if you want to work the front gate of the Rainbow Gathering, which I encourage every single person to do, simply welcome people home, show them where they can go. Now, there have been people over the years who thought that they were the folks running the front gate of the Rainbow Gathering, and they kind of put people off because they'd be way drunk, or they might be panhandling with cigarettes or whatever. So we kind of ask for that respect. Everyone is welcome, and please come, and if you're in the area, and next summer, please come early to the gathering, help us set up, and keep the peace. And know this, everyone is your own security, which means that every single person is on your own in the gathering. Every single person is responsible for yourself. But if you do need help, you can holler help, you can holler Shanti SENA. And someone like me, maybe not as but someone like me might get up and will get up and come and support you and help you. And so be safe. And see you next gathering. Peace out. Bye, Barry.